All right, and we're back. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Actually, I did want to take a look at the scale on that. Okay, so that's pretty good. The mosaic tiles are normally a 2-inch by 2-inch, so that scale is going to be okay for this one. You can always adjust it later if it doesn't look right. And I'll go ahead and add a pattern as well. I can also make custom patterns. Let's go ahead and do that because I don't have a 2-inch one. But if I want to make a new pattern, click on new fill pattern, 2-inch tile. I can do parallel lines or a crosshatch. So I'm going to go with a crosshatch. I can change the degrees here, and then I can change the spacing. So there you go. You can see that adjusting up there. All right, so model lines means it's always true to scale. So whatever you apply here, it's always going to be 2 inches in the model itself. A drafting pattern is relative, and it's not, you can't adjust it in the model, and it's going to adjust based on the scale. So whenever I'm modeling something on a model element, I'm using a model pattern. All right, so I have a 2-inch tile there. And I'll go ahead and hit OK, and then OK again. And there we go. Now I have a tile mosaic just on one side of the wall. If it's on the wrong side, I can always switch that. If I select it in 3D and hit spacebar, it will flip the wall back and forth. You can also do that from your floor plan just by selecting the wall and hitting the arrows. Okay, so now I have a wall with a tile all the way across. Let's take a look at what is called a compound wall. And what I would want to do if I was going to create a tile just on a portion of the wall. So let's say I have a tile wainscot or a backsplash. So we'll start out with the tile wainscot. I'll go ahead and select this wall. We're going to make another one here. Again, I'm duplicating, so I'm not affecting the other wall. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go into my wall. Similar to last time, I'm going to add another layer. I'm going to give it a thickness. Make sure I adjust my other one to keep my overall consistent. Now, what I'm going to do, so if I have just a tile wainscot, you'll see with this highlighted, it's going all the way up. So what I want to do is break that layer or split it so that I can assign 2 materials to that layer. All right, so what I'm going to do here is say split region down here in the bottom left. So you can see when it's highlighted blue, I'm in that command. I'm going to come over in the preview box. I'm going to come over here. Let's say I want it to be at 3 feet. And scroll down, and I can zoom in, make sure I'm just going to be right on the edge here. Click to place. There's 3 feet. Right away, I want to make sure I get out of that command and hit modify. You can keep clicking in there and it can get kind of messy. So I'm going to say modify. If you didn't get the dimension totally correct, that's fine. You can click modify and zoom in and click on that split and then zoom out and you could type a different number. Okay, so we'll go ahead and leave it at 4 foot. You'll see now that this thickness is variable and that when I highlight it, it still is highlighting both areas. So what I need to do is insert another layer, and then I'm going to assign that layer. Okay, I'm going to zoom in and click on the portion of the wall I want to assign it to, which is going to be this bottom portion. That's going to be my tile. And then right away, I click out to modify. Again, you can keep clicking in there and you can start to assign layers all over the place. So just click right out to modify. Now, if I click here, you can see 4 is assigned to my overall, 3 is assigned to the top, and 2 is assigned to the bottom. So let's go ahead and add in a material. So I'm just going to add the same tile that we have on the other one. And looks like it's on the other side, spacebar to flip. And there we go. So now I have a wainscot. All right, in a similar fashion, if I wanted to create a backsplash, just going to split this wall here. We'll use one of these same ones. All right, I'm again going to edit type to duplicate. Actually, we're going to start from the generic 8-inch again, just to keep it simpler. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to edit type. I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to hit OK here. Now it's going to be a similar process. I'm going to insert a layer, give it a thickness, adjust my other layer to keep my wall overall thickness consistent. Now for this one, I'm going to split the region twice. Okay, so zoom in on the layer you want, hover on the edge and click to place. Then I'm going to do a second one here because that's going to be our backsplash area. All right, you'll notice I didn't pay too much attention on the numbers. I'm going to just click modify and come back in here, click on it, and then I can type this in. And then same thing for this one. All right, from here, I'm going to create a new layer. So I'm going to modify, insert. Very important that you do not give this one a thickness. All right, you're just going to go straight to assign layers and then click where you want to assign it. Right away to modify, and then I can check my where my material or my layers are assigned here. You can see that one's just here in the middle. So I'll go ahead and put that as the tile wall. And I'll hit OK again, and then OK. And now I have one with a backsplash. All right, let's take a look at, let's say we have an area rug on this wood floor. So if I go to my architecture tab to floor, maybe it's a, let's go 6x8, sure. And I'll go ahead and I'm gonna finish that sketch. I'm gonna get an error because I just put a floor right on top of another floor, right? So look at this. You can see I just put a floor right in there in the middle. So what I wanna do is I'm gonna modify, not modify, I'm gonna duplicate this. All right, I'm just gonna call this area rug. And I'm going to make it very thin. Half an inch. You can make a half inch, quarter of an inch, either way, just a very thin floor. All right, but you can see if I cut a section through this, it's going to still be at the same height as the other floor. So you can see that one there, just kind of inset. Also, there's a tool up here at the upper ribbon called Thin Lines. It's just a graphic display tool. It doesn't affect print settings or anything, but you can turn that on and off to just eliminate the line weights. You can see that floor is kind of hard to see. But if I turn it on to thin lines, you can see it much more clearly. So what I want to do is move this floor up. So I could do that with my move tool, but you would have to have a section view to do that. So an easier way, and if I'm in a 3D as well or a floor plan, is to adjust the height offset from the level. So I'm going to adjust it to the same thickness I just made that floor. And now you can see it's on top of the other floor. Okay, so that's how you're going to adjust that. Now let's go ahead and go into our area rug. So we already have a new floor type, but I want to make sure that I create a new material. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could add any of the materials I already have. I want to make one for an area rug, so I'm going to say create new material. And then I'm going to go to my appearance tab, and I already saved an image for this. So you basically just go, just find a floor plan view of an area rug. And you can bring that, save that in the appropriate location and bring that in. So it's literally just a Google search here, and then I went to one of those websites and then just found, a view looking down. So something like this. If it has edges on it, you may need to Photoshop it. And we'll see if the one I have, how good it is or not once it loads here. Okay, still thinking about it. But because these images, they are, so something like this, if you download this, it might be the whole image that comes in. So you might need to go in and Photoshop it and crop it down so that it's just the edges of the area rug. And similarly with some of these other images, in particular that tile that we were looking at, this one here, this one is just gray. There is a little bit of shading or tint that you can play with in Revit, but overall, if you want to adjust the color drastically, I do recommend doing that in Photoshop. And in general, I do recommend doing as many photo edits before bringing them into Revit. Revit gives you a lot less control on the photo editing. So I always try to get it as accurate as possible. You know, like if I was still working with this one and if it's too much yellow or it's too tan, I would try to do those photo edits outside of Revit before bringing them in. And I think Paint has some decent options as well if you don't have Photoshop on just on photo editing. All right, we're gonna give this one just another second because it loaded basically as soon as I stopped the video last time. So once we get this loaded in here, there's gonna be an adjustment that we're gonna make to the image, to the scaling, that's gonna be different from the flooring. So we're gonna get rid of the repeat, and then you have to sometimes you have to work with the image a little bit. As you can see, you know, based on the size that I made the floor, the image might not be exactly to that scale. So you do have to work with that. It's not like you can necessarily, you know, take a rug like this and you know, there's some flexibility on being able to make it smaller or thinner or more narrow. But if you were trying to do you know, a rug that's this size and you have an image like this, you know, that's going to be difficult to make look good. So you have a little bit of flexibility on the scale that you can kind of fudge it. But, you know, overall, if you're looking for a narrower rug, then you want to look for a narrower rug image. Um, there's only so much it can do on the scale. Okay, well, maybe stopping the video is the lucky charm. I'm gonna stop this one and we'll finish the area rug on another video here.